All right, so I have a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
Why do you hate our military?
I don't hate our military.
How long have you known me?
I've known you
A long time, right?
too long, yeah.
What do I wear every Friday?
Red.
Why?
I think,
Why?
Well, you're colorblind for starters, so it's debatable whether or not you actually have
You
a
have
red.
two stepsons that serve their country. You don't. So they got home safe. So
Why aren't you wearing red?
Forget all the other ones.
Why aren't you wearing red today?
This isn't red.
Like I said,
This is why
he's
I don't.
colorblind.
This is why I don't like you.
Yeah, well, yes, I do have two stepsons who are proud Marines.
Came home safely, served their country.
Yes, very proud of them.
So screw all the other ones.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, well,
Right.
Maybe a
People,
little
this
red.
is just as a joke, all right? I
Maybe
love my
a
servicemen.
little red on Fridays. You can't. How hard is that to do?
Listen, I just have a problem with military guys like of the Navy kind.
Oh, right.
The ones who spent too much time in the engine room. Those are the ones I don't have much respect for. They're a little hunched over.
Well,
they may have sucked in
that
too
from
many
the guy
fumes.
that never served his country. Lived up in Beringstein or whatever.
I serve my country through my veterans and the wonderful and incredible home loans that I get them all.
Okay, I'll give you that one. All right, can we start now? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, Jim, you and I, for probably the better part of 2 years, have been telling people, like every other realtor and lender, they're telling rates. So, and then we all came to an agreement that our crystal balls didn't work and there's no way to predict what's going on. And then I stopped saying, oh, rates are going to do this, they're coming. And now we're actually seeing some major shifts due to the new administration. Love them or hate them, we're seeing major shifts. I'm not so sure our message on rates was totally wrong, but let's talk a little bit about what's happening today, yesterday, today, how that's going to affect mortgages or what you see. And my fear is that we're going to sound like everybody else. So we agreed we don't want to be like every other realtor and lender out there going, oh, you should do it now. I mean, is it right or wrong right now? Is it safe? Could it change like in a day? Where are you at?
Well, no, we don't want to be those guys. Rates are coming down. And
right.
Putting this sense of urgency out there. I mean, I still do feel that it's been a good time to buy. It's just going to take a little longer to refi, and the refinances will happen eventually. But you can only qualify for what you can afford. So if you're buying something now that you can afford, even if you feel like you're paying a little too much for it, you're not, because our prices there's not going to be this big correction, not in Arizona, not in our market here. If anything, they've just been a little flat, but we're still appreciating. So buy the house and then refinance later, and you'll be into a more comfortable payment. Now, that has taken considerably longer for anybody who's bought in the last 2 years. And there isn't a single expert who's figured it out or gotten it. Historically, what has happened here, and it's mostly because of the pandemic, it has thrown all of the prior, historical trends and data completely off. The rates that we had down in the 2s and 3s were an anomaly. We'll never have those again. If we do, we are in deep doo-doo, and we don't really want that.
Well, if we do, it means we have another world catastrophe.
Yeah, and I don't know how many of those you can, get
right.
through in such a short period of time. So we really don't want that to happen. My personal opinion, healthy rates are in the 5s, and we're right on the antithesis of getting there right now.
Let's go back to that. So you and I have been saying once the rates get into 5 point anything, 5.9, 5.875, 5.75, that the lid's going to break off and people are finally going to say, all right, now's the time. So here's what I'm seeing, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. So right now, and I'm even talking like day to day. So right now, rates are definitely coming down. They've been inching down, like nice and slow. So what goes up fast comes down fast, but they're coming down nice and slow, and that's a good thing. Maybe now's the time to, if you're looking, get pre-qualified, get out there and get something locked in for the 30 days, and then the program that we have going with the no-cost refi from 365 days from close. So if they keep coming down, it's kind of like a safety net.
I mean,
Does that fly right now?
yeah, it totally flies, and it has flown for the last 2 years. Quite frankly, I don't think anybody is going to be I haven't had any of my customers who I told we're going to be able to probably refinance you within 12 to 18 months, and we're already past that. I haven't had a single one of them call me, and I stay in touch with them. But not a single one of them has been like, "Hey Jim, you sold me the wrong information here." We were all doing the best we can with the information that's available, but they're all happy in their homes. And when they get that lower rate, eventually they're going to be even happier.
Right?
But one thing that's probably keeping them from being disenfranchised is the fact that their homes have appreciated.
Right.
At the very worst, they've just stayed stagnant and gone up a little bit. But nobody's house here in Arizona that purchased in the last 2 years has gone backwards.
Right.
That I know of.
Yeah, right. I agree. The other thing too is something I came up with. I can come up with some crazy stuff sometimes. But the other day I was thinking, everybody's all screaming about rates and rates and rates. My mortgage is going up, and it's got nothing to do with rates. It's insurance.
Oh,
Insurance
well, yeah,
is
your monthly
pricing
payment.
people like out of the market. It's like, oh, well,
It
your
is.
mortgage, your PITI, all of a sudden is so much higher because the taxes and insurance are just killing. Not so much taxes in Arizona, but insurance rates are just, it's unbelievable how far they're popping up.
No, I get that
monthly
phone
payment.
call all the time from first-time home buyers, that we got into a house and they said, "Hey, you told me this was a fixed payment." And I said, "But your taxes and insurance are all subject to change." So
Yeah.
they're first-time home buyers. They didn't get that. They
Right.
didn't understand that. That's just another new lesson that you're like, oh, shouldn't everybody know that? But no, you don't. But,
Yeah, right. I agree. What else do you want to talk about?
Well,
The
how
White
about,
Sox
how
have
about them
already-
Sox? Yeah, they
yeah.
suck, huh?
White Sox only need 20 more games to be better than last year.
We're both a couple of Chicago guys, for anybody who doesn't know
Yeah.
us.
He's a Cubs fan, so
Oh, no, I'm not.
yeah, you are. You kind of act like one.
No,
You
I'm
do.
definitely not a Cubs fan.
You always got to be right, and yeah, you're kind of a Cubs fan.
Oh, is that a characteristic of a Cubs fan?
I mean, the White
Well,
Sox have been shitty for so long.
You're right. I am always right, but
See? I don't know what camera's on me, but see? That's why his nickname is. Anyway, all right, so I don't know about you, but based on our conversations before we came in here, things are starting to pop right now. I picked up 3 new listings yesterday. I got buyers coming in from all over the place. It seems like things are opening up.
yeah, my applications are up like 40%.
Really?
I've been busy.
From where?
From last year over year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2024 sucked.
23 was my worst year ever.
Yeah, tail into 23.
24 was, I did 3 times the amount of business in 24 than I did in 23.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, aren't we partners? How come that wasn't true to me?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you're two-timing me. Okay. I get it. Good thing I got a good title company behind me that's
Yeah, it's-
loyal to me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right. All right. Bree, what else do you want us to talk about? By the way, Bree is hiding over behind the camera, and she really should be the one in front of the camera,
Well,
certainly not
she don't
me.
want to outshine us. I appreciate that.
I gotta give you guys a stage once in a while.
Yeah,
Right,
it's like,
right.
Nobody wants to look at a couple old crusty dudes. They can look at her.
I want you guys to tell a story about a client. So pick a client, tell a story.
Who was that guy that died in between? No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my God.
That you guys both worked on together.
Well, there's
Oh.
quite a few. I
Well,
know it's a good one.
let's preface all that. So, I'm a big proponent of having partners, and as much as it comes across that I really don't care for him, he's really an excellent loan officer. He never lets me down. So this partnership has been 10 years,
More
11
than that,
years
Yeah.
in the making, and yeah, it just works. It just works.
So
I mean, I really don't like him. I like his wife, but I don't like him.
that might be the only reason. So
Pretty sure.
whatever works. If I got
Right.
if I got to trot her out. I mean, I like your wife too. For the record. Sometimes your wife tells me she likes me better than you.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Yeah, I'm sure she does. I don't even need to tell you what your wife says about
But
me.
so a good story about we have several, but one that comes to mind. This goes under the heading of no good deed goes unpunished. Johnny had this elderly client, and she's Hungarian.
Oh.
I'm Hungarian, and
We shouldn't say her
so
name.
we were like, I'm not saying names. She had very broken English, and she was
And old. She was 90.
And her husband passed away. She had a reverse mortgage on the house, big house, expensive house.
Stonegate.
And she had to sell and downsize. And actually, turns out she went into a facility. I'll get there though. But Johnny and I both were. I mean, Johnny, of course, went so above. He helped her organize the estate sale. We helped her move. She
Literally like carried boxes, drove a truck.
Her daughter became, well, her and her daughter were estranged, and her daughter lives nearby, but her and her daughter became estranged. Her daughter was the only one she had to help. Her daughter wasn't helping her mom, even though her daughter stands to inherit whatever she's got left, and she made quite a bit on the house. So anyway, she decided to move into one of those assisted living facilities. She didn't need any help yet, but she was being proactive. And we helped move her in there. And in the end, we got accused of stealing her, purses.
A coyote jacket.
Coyote fur.
fur.
You got accused. I didn't get accused,
Yeah.
but it was just unbelievable. What the daughter did.
Yeah, not by her, by her daughter.
By your daughter. She even didn't she like get legal? Or she went at the brokerage?
Kinda. Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, have you ever heard of a agent and a lender helping move a client out of their house and into their new home?
Like literally loaded the truck, drove the truck, unloaded the truck.
Yep.
It was days. It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, no
She
good.
passed away. I don't know if you know that or not. She did pass away.
Oh gosh, I did not know that.
Yeah, a while ago. She passed away. And then her daughter started calling the brokerage again. To accuse me of stealing the coyote fur coat.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even know you could make a fur coat out of a coyote. It would take several coyotes, wouldn't it?
It was so crazy. She, I have like a Pyrex dish that she gave me because she's like, before the estate sale, you guys take whatever you want. I'm like, I don't need any of that.
I remember that day.
But then you were like, well, Jim loves to cook. He's a chef, and maybe he wants some stuff from the kitchen. Oh my God! So we were there for half an hour as she's unloading everything out of her cabinets, going through. Well, what would you like this? Would you like this? With her accent, I'm like, no, I'm good. But anyway, I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of like that Pyrex dish. I'll take that if you don't mind. Oh. So I took a Pyrex dish from her. Who knows? Maybe the daughter's like, where's that Pyrex dish? That 20-year-old Pyrex. What?
Did you accidentally wrap the Pyrex in a coyote fur coat by any chance?
I did. Well, yeah, I didn't want it to.
So now the truth comes
or
out.
Get chipped. Yeah. No.
Note to self:
definitely
call
not.
daughter and tell her I found the coyote jacket.
That was something else. But we've got plenty of crazy stories like that. That was one of the more over the top ones for sure. But
yeah, we've had some humdingers.
No doubt.
All right, what do you see in 2025?
I see a steadily improving market and situation.
When
we're going to have a few bumps in the road, but I personally feel that this Trump tariff stuff is his way of effectuating interest rates to go down. And look at it, it's working. I mean, he clearly had conversations with the Fed chief, Powell, and Powell's like, yeah, you can't tell me what to do. And we marched our own drummer. And so, Trump's like, well, then I guess I got to steer this dog. He's wagging the tail. Whatever that's called, he's effectuating interest rates coming down, in my personal opinion, by all this tariff rattling and whatnot. You know what? It's gonna result in a lot of great stuff. But before he drives us into a recession, or the tariffs drive us into a recession, I think deals will be made. They're already being made. You're already hearing about. Israel's the first one to go zero tariffs, and
Canada said, "Look, you take all your tariffs away, we'll take all ours away."
I hadn't heard that. That's new news. But there is another country.
You know what the tariff?
Venezuela.
is?
Venezuela went zero. It said they're
no
taking
surprise there. I mean,
yeah. Well, he's smart.
They could use all the help they could get.
That dude's smart.
Do you know what the tariff is on like cheese, milk and cheese products from the U.S. going into Canada?
200-something%.
300%.
Insane.
290 something.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking about being fair, and I just don't understand how some of the, and I'm not trying to be like a big Trump guy. I'm just saying a lot of people in the general public, I just don't understand how they can think it's fair for all these countries that have these exorbitant tariffs on us, and that when we literally just try and put a little bit of tariff on them, everybody's in an outrage. I don't think there's enough education about it, or people just aren't believing, but it's all over the news. It's all over the news about how ridiculous tariffs other countries around the whole world have on us, and we've just been carrying everybody's water for them. Yeah. And now we're just asking for a little more fair deal. We're not even asking to go toe-to-toe. We're just asking for a little fair, I mean, and people are outraged about that? I just don't get the narrative.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I try not to get political.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. This is such a divisive subject. It's like you can hear the sun rises in the east on one channel, and then, well, it doesn't really rise in the east. It's kind of like the northeast at this time of year. It's like everything's getting spun differently. I don't know. I just feel like journalism.
Actually, I think it's more like, well, I don't think the sun came up today because Trump did something and didn't come up.
That's kind of silly, actually.
I know. But let's not.
But it's affecting everybody's life. So it is.
And I'm just talking
it's
about.
Also something that's.
I wasn't trying to get into a political discussion. I was trying to have an economical discussion. Is really all I was talking about.
I agree 100%.
So, and that's what I believe is going on, and we'll see what happens. You can't deny the guy's a deal maker. So,
like that. He's definitely a successful businessman. All right. Wait, hold on. We have a caller on the line. What's your question?
What strategies do you recommend for sellers going into the spring market for a competitive market?
Patience. Patience is going to be the key. Right now, average day on market, depending on where you're at in the valley, is somewhere like 70. So patience is going to be key. I just picked up, three listings yesterday, and all three have different visions of how it's going to work. But I told all three, I said, don't expect this thing to just sell tomorrow. Could it? Yep. Could it take 70 days? Yeah, it can. It just depends on how the market's shifting and what, it's that warm blanket thing. I think for some reason, and you can expand on it if you want, but for some reason, and Jim and I have been discussing this forever, for some reason that 5 number is like the warm blanket. It's like once they get to 5 and they're not at 7, they're never going to be 2 and 3 again. So 5's kind of like the number everybody's like, okay, that's where we got to be. And the math works out. And it's all math. So I think it's going to be topsy-turvy, but I think while it's fluctuating to the good for everybody right now. I'm gonna piss off half the people and tell you that it's probably a buyer's market right now. Buyers are all asking for concessions, so you got to price your house accordingly. I think the whole NAR thing, probably not best that I get too deep into that because my opinion might not be shared by everybody.
Well, 51% of your compatriots are disenfranchised with NAR. I was just reading that this morning.
I think they reacted too quickly. I think they should have thought out what they were doing because it's all about protecting the consumer, and I'm good with that. I'm good with protecting the consumer, but it's really about transparency from realtors, just being honest with their clients. I never had a problem with it. The day it came up, I was like, I don't have to worry about that. I'm straight with my clients.
If I could chime in on answering that same question, and I'm not trying to be in the realtor's lane, but I'm just talking from
stay in your own lane,
lender's lane. I agree. I think it's definitely looks like a buyer's market right now, and the majority of my deals have seller concessions, and it's
what percent have concessions?
90.
90?
I'd say 90%. Yeah,
I think the average in Arizona is like 55%.
I'm going to say just about 90% of my deals have some kind of concession on them, and I really think that's got to be the mindset going in for sellers, and price accordingly, and just build in the closing costs. And what I'm seeing, heck, I've got a handful of deals where they're giving enough concessions to fund a 2-1 temporary buy down and the closing costs. That's considerable.
Yeah. And now you got compensation in the mix too, so that
it really makes the deal work for a lot of people because they've got the down payment, but they don't quite have the closing costs too. So they, once the closing costs are offered, they're all right. Let's do it. They're willing to do it because I think the rates are, people are getting used to these rates too. It's not just they're waiting for the fives. It's been a while now, and they see, well, gosh, how long am I going to wait? And you got pent up frustration for people who've been wanting to move for a while, and then we're even starting to see quite a few people who are, were thinking of doing anything with their mortgage because they have one of those 2 or 3s, but they really racked up a lot of credit cards, and it actually makes sense to do a cash out because they have plenty of equity. And we're saving them thousands per month because of these ridiculous 30% interest rates on the credit cards. So we're getting them you're using the equity in your house to buy the rate down. So we're getting them into 5s. We have 5% rates. You just got to buy into them. So when you're using equity on your house, which half of it's funny money anyway from the market appreciation, why not do the cash out and your blended rate, even if you're in the high 5s now, again, you're saving thousands of dollars. And then if the rates go any lower, we'll refinance again.
Yeah. So to me, there's 3 ways to price your house right now. You can price it high, thinking that you're going to have to pay concessions and all that, but even go a little higher than that, thinking that, okay, we can come down a little bit. You can price it at market value, which is my preferred way to go, or you can price it low and hope for a bidding war. I don't think a bidding war is realistic right now. So, and you can't ever go up. So you can, but it's really not the best strategy. So to me, I think if you're pricing your property for sale right now, have your realtor look at what's the comps, what's a true dollar figure, what's my competition, because that's what it's all about. What your competition is, because realistically, every realtor can tell you, you could take a house, every realtor say, comp this out. And if you took 10 realtors, you'd probably get 7 different prices. You got to look at what's realistic. This is what it really is. To me, the best strategy right now is to price it at market value and then let your realtor do their job. My thing with all my listing appointments is I tell them, I'm a facilitator. You got a house, I got to find people that want to get in the discussion about buying your house. So I just need to put you 2 together. That's my job. How we do that, some do it better than others. But to me, that's what the realtor's job is right now, is you got to be a matchmaker, you Cupid, whatever you want to call it. But it's your job to get into conversations. Ultimately, my job is to get people into conversation.
That's just a part of your job.
Right.
Analyzing the home.
That's the only part I know.
Pricing it properly.
I don't know how to do.
Pricing it properly, preparing your client for what's coming down the pike,
right.
and then facilitating the buyer,
right.
and then watching over the closing and making sure that because you have that fiduciary right as a responsibility as an agent here in Arizona,
which is interesting,
to make sure that they're not taking advantage of.
Yeah, which is interesting because right now, there's realtors out there that they're really doing their clients a disservice by not, if you've got something about a listing that's just different, like you and I, when I take a listing, Jim always brings in rate packages. Like if you bought this house at asking and you put 5% down, 10% down, 20% down, this is what your payments would look like. The reason we do that is because, unfortunately, there's realtors out there that they don't do that with their clients. They don't explain it. So when we put it in the listings, it's like they can't stop their clients from looking at it and saying, "Oh, look, I need to know more about this." So I think the job right now for both of us is to really be educators, to just teach people, look at, this is where we're at now, this is where we were at 5 years ago, and this is what we predict 5 years from now. I firmly believe that if you're buying a property right now, if you got a 5-year plan, you're golden. I just don't think real estate's always going to be there. Nobody can take it away.
I think we're going to look great in 5 years.
I think we're going to look awesome. I think we're going to look. I predict. Here's a big prediction. I predict the third quarter, the top of this thing's going to get blown off. It's going to go crazy.
There we go.
And then it could turn into a seller's market. And then all that California money, people are going to be coming over going, I just sold a 1,000-foot home in California for $1.5 million, and I got all this money, and they're going to come in and say, Yeah, I'll pay you 10 grand over asking, all that.
$1.5 million. What, it was a mobile home?
Yeah, right. Yeah, 2 million, whatever it was. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But you know what? We're following those trends, the California trends. I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
With housing,
Yeah.
we don't have enough housing, and we're not catching up, which is another reason why, we're never going to have a correction here, in my opinion, because of that. There's just, with the amount of just new house formations and people normal transitioning up, and transitioning down, downsizing, just those normal. We don't have enough adequate housing for that. Now add into that all of these companies that are coming in, these big companies, TSMC, the microchip company, and all these other companies, creating thousands of jobs, bringing thousands more employees here. And then the building restrictions. So that's another big part of that equation, is because we have, Arizona leads the nation in water conservation, and it's a big part of when you're planning a development.
Which they should.
So, they've got that 100-year water usage rule, whatever it is. I don't purport to be an expert on that, but they've got to, when a developer is doing a development, they've got to show how their development is sustainable within the 100-year plan and all that stuff. So that throttles new home formations as well. So because of how you can only build so fast here, just because of that, and all of the influx over the next 10 years of what's coming here, we're never going to catch up, which it spells, higher prices. Prices just continuing to creep.
Yeah.
It's simple supply and demand.
But even so, we're still in better shape than they are in California.
Oh, well, yeah. But
Yeah.
if we can...
The people I'm talking to from California, and I've had some doozies lately.
Careful now.
No, I've had some really interesting conversations with people from California that are just fed up. I'm like, what are you fed up with? And I don't want to get into specifics, but it's always the same thing. It's like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to get the heck out of California.
I love San Diego. I love going to San Diego, but I could never live in California because of the politics and everything.
Yeah.
And the taxes, of course. I left Chicago because of the politics and the taxes and the weather. But I could never live in California. I go on vacation there plenty, but couldn't live there.
Yeah, I feel the same. Oh, we have another caller.
What are some common challenges you see first-time homebuyers face?
That's a really good question. I would say for a lot of them, there's credit challenges. And, I pride myself at getting people into a position to be able to purchase. We have some complimentary credit upgrade programs, and some others. We have partners where, if you're a little tougher case, we can, refer you to. But credit challenges, down payment, just coming up with the down payment money, and those are probably the biggest challenges, I would say.
I think it's education. I really do. I think it's not knowing the process and finding a realtor that can take you through the whole process before you even get in it. It's so important that you've got to set expectations. And right now, more than ever, those are fluid. Things are changing at a rapid pace. So I think educating first-time homebuyers as to the process, and this is what you can expect.
I agree.
So they don't get
But
flooded with oh my God, I didn't even think of that.
Education's huge, but what's ironic, the thing is they are real hesitant to get educated. So I'm always telling my clients when I ask for a referral from them, do you have anybody in your family looking? It's crazy how there's people who want to own a home, but it's like they don't want to
they
bother.
Just figure the process is going to take care of it.
Well, they're either anxious about what the process involves, or they don't want to bother you, bother me by having calling me or talking to me and having a conversation. Or maybe they think that if they have a conversation with me, I'm going to try and sell them something. It's kind of crazy. It's just getting them to the conversation is kind of right now one of the issues that we have. I'm like, I know so many people, who know so many folks who want to buy, and I'm like, why are they not calling me? The sooner you start, the better. I mean, sometimes it takes years to get somebody into the right position because maybe they have no credit, or maybe they screwed up and they've got some bunch of dings we got to clean up and whatnot, or they just need to know what they want to, save up for. There's a lot of misunderstanding about how much down payment you need too. I mean, like I said, education, but it all starts with a conversation. We could put all kinds of stuff out there on social media and all that stuff, but it's amazing how it just doesn't get absorbed or understood or whatever.
I can't tell you how many first-time home buyers I've talked to that said, "Oh yeah, we rent, we live over here." I said, "How come you're not buying?" They're like, "Oh, we could never afford to buy a home." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Have you ever looked into it?"
Yeah.
They're like, "No." I mean, we're
Like, give me 5 minutes. Let me run the numbers for you.
like find out what. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Wait, we could actually own a home," and then the excitement gets in there, and then the realtor's got to do a job of saying, "Look at this is emotional. This is like a big deal. You're buying a house, which is great, but to me, this is business, and it's my job to make sure we're steering you in the right direction." And then I'll tell you when it's time to get emotional again. You might, but at a certain point, you just got to kind of transition out of that emotional part of it and look at it as a good business decision. But then enjoy, and then once you get through that process, heck yeah, man, you're gonna have your own house, and then you tell, and then you're gonna have water heater problems and then roof problems. And it's like owning a house is like
You might want to leave that out of
yeah.
the discussion, but
But you got to be realistic.
when I've got agents who tell me they've got a client but they're real hesitant, I tell them, listen, I can go a couple different ways. Just have them call me. I says, we can just have a back of the napkin discussion, whereas they just tell me some of their information, income, what they've got to work with for down payment, whatnot, and an idea of what their current liabilities are. A lot of people don't even get which liabilities go into the debt to income.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't understand. It's only what's reporting on the credit report, and it's only the monthly payment that we're working with, the minimum monthly payment. So I'll have folks, they'll get on the phone, like, I got like $12,000 on my Chase card. I'm like, I don't care how much you have on your Chase card. What's the minimum payment? So we'll sit down, and like I said, I can do the back of the napkin where I just jot down what they're telling me their minimum liabilities are, what their income is, and I can spit out a very accurate number on what they can afford. And most of the time they're like, wow, really? Or I could take it to the next level, and I could do a soft pull application. We do a lot. I start every application with a soft pull. Does it get reported?
Explain a soft pull for people that
soft
don't
credit
understand.
inquiry is I can do all three bureaus, but I usually just do one to keep the costs down, and it usually tells me enough to do a very accurate estimate, because it brings in all their liabilities, and I know exactly what the minimum monthly payment is on every single one of their liabilities and whatnot. So, and I can do a regular application, but the soft inquiry doesn't get reported to the bureaus, doesn't go against their credit, doesn't ding their credit. That being said, there is a lot of misunderstanding about hard inquiries and the effect that they have on your credit report. If you have very good credit, a hard inquiry doesn't affect your credit score at all. If you have middle of the road credit and you have a bunch of credit hard inquiries, it could affect your score by 5 to 10 points. If you have bad credit, every pull could affect you.
Right.
Like up to 10, 20 points. It's kind of dependent on where your credit is, how much effect that credit pull is going to have.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know. So I have that discussion with a lot of folks. But anyway, there's lots of ways to get that information and be more and more accurate. And I got people who are like, yeah, I'm not worried about it. Let's just go. Let's full bore ahead.
I get them with a Pre-Qual. Go ahead.
Even those folks, and this is standard with all of my borrowers, my clients, I try, unless we're in a hurry, I urge them to, I'll start with a soft pull. I find out everything I need to know. I can even just about issue a Pre-Qual with that. But I would urge you to then wait 5 days, give them the information for the opt-out of unwanted solicitations, because it's a horrible part of our business. When we do a hard inquiry, the three bureaus, and it should be illegal, and there's legislation, but it's not going anywhere, because guess who is not going to let it happen? All the the bureaus and the credit card companies, they don't want it to happen. Anyway, they sell, when I do a hard inquiry, they sell that information to all kinds of lenders, who then get on the phone or email and solicit our clients. they'll get 100 phone calls. So I coach my clients and I say, let's do the opt out. It takes 5 business days to go into effect. So if we're not in a hurry, let's do this. I can, with the soft pull, I can tell you what you could shop for. It's usually going to take at least a week for them to find a house anyway, right? So while they're shopping already, they're going and shopping, the opt out is going into effect. And then when we do that hard inquiry, they're not getting 100, 150 phone calls that makes them want to throw their phone in the garbage.
Yeah, and they're already set up, right?
So that's
the other thing too about that, and this is something I see with first-time home buyers more than anything, is let's say they get pre-qualified for 750, 600 to 750, something like that, 500, whatever it might be. They think, oh, well, that's the house that we're going to look at. No, not necessarily. What if we could find you the right house for 350 or 400? You don't have to buy what the pre-qual says. You got to buy what's comfortable for you. Because don't forget, insurance is going up. Taxes aren't a big deal because our property taxes in Arizona
you know what?
are low.
I'm going to tell you right now, 8 times out of 10, when I pre-qualify somebody, especially these days, they're like, 400's my max. And I'm like, I totally understand that. That's where you're comfortable with your payment. But it's my job to let you know, because when you go out shopping, you may not find what you're looking for in that $400,000. So I'm not trying to sell you more house, but it's my job to let you know 450's what you can, that's the max you can afford.
Right.
So this is your range now, in case you can't find something at 400. 8 times out of 10, they're not buying something 400. They're buying something, and it's not because I told them. It's just because they just can't find what they like.
Right.
Especially that range, that 4 to 450 range. What you can find for 400 versus 450 seems like a chasm these days.
Yeah, I agree.
Most of the time, they're
I agree.
pushing it.
Let me switch subjects a little bit. So, at a certain point, you were talking about getting chickens, so you didn't have to go buy eggs.
Yeah,
And how many chickens do you have in the backyard now?
none, but that's just because of laziness, I think.
Is it because you ate them? Because you got hungry one
I mean,
day?
I'm not against that, but you know.
So you don't name the chickens because then it's kind of
Well,
hard
my
to
wife would name the chickens,
lop their head
but
off.
that still wouldn't stop me from eating the chicken.
And do they really run around like with their head cut?
They do, actually.
Are you selling eggs on the, like a Kool-Aid
Well, we haven't
stand?
gotten that far yet, but my wife's pretty serious about it.
Yeah. Well,
So-
there's a lot of people bringing them in from Mexico. So now they got to stop fentanyl and eggs at the border. It's a big deal.
I think the eggs coming is on purpose. That's how egg prices are going down.
Yeah,
We're
but
actually
there's
importing
people
eggs from all
smuggling
over
eggs
right
over
now.
the border.
I hadn't heard that.
And you know the border wall that Trump built, you can get an egg
are
through there.
they the browner eggs?
Probably.